In this video, we will see how to authenticate users in a Spring Boot application using a database by implementing a custom user details service. We are starting with an application which already has in-memory authentication implemented using a security config class which extends web security configurer adapter. The pom.xml already has Spring Boot Starter Web and Spring Boot Starter Security dependency. Check out my previous videos in this series to see how we got here. Spring Security provides an inbuilt JDBC authentication which provides support for username password based authentication that is retrieved using JDBC. This works well when we use the default user schema provided by Spring Security, but it offers little flexibility if we are using our own user schema. Instead, we will be using DAO Authentication Provider, which is an authentication provider implementation that leverages a user details service and password encoder to authenticate a username and password. Under the hood, in-memory authentication and JDBC authentication are also using user details service. We can implement a custom user details service which will retrieve the user info using JPA. So first up, let's create a table user info with columns user ID, username, password and roles. Roles column will have the comma separated list of roles assigned to the user. I have formulated the create table DDL query which we are going to execute on the Postgres DB of our application in the dbeaver client. The table has gotten created. Next step is to create corresponding user info JPA entity class and repository interface. Since we are already using JPA in this project, we already have the Spring Boot Starter Data JPA dependency in our pom.xml, and we have configured our Postgres data source in our application.properties file. To generate the entity bean and repository, I'll be using the IntelliJ plugin JPA support. Alt insert command provides a drop-down with options to generate JPA entities. Fill out your database credentials and select the table for which you need to create entities. The plugin generates a user info entity and user info repository in the provided destination package. In user info entity, mark the user ID field with generated value annotation. This will auto-generate the ID whenever a new entry is persisted. Next, we will create a custom implementation of Spring Security's User Details Service interface. Create a new class named User Details Service IMPL under Data Package, and it should implement the User Details Service interface. This interface defines a load by username method which returns a user details instance, and hence that method should be implemented by our User Details Service IMPL class as well. User Details is another interface provided by Spring Security to store core user information. It defines methods like get username, get password, get authorities, etc. We need to provide a concrete implementation of this interface and implement all these methods. So let's create a class named User Details IMPL, and it should implement User Details interface, and its corresponding methods should be implemented in this class. User Details interface works as the adapter between your own user database and what Spring Security needs inside the security context holder. We'll make use of the user info JPA entity, which is a representation of our user info table, by adding it as a member of the User Details IMPL class, and use the entity values in the User Details implemented methods. Create a constructor which takes in user info as parameter. All these implemented methods should return a non-null value. GetPassword method of User Details IMPL would return userinfo.getPassword, and getUsername method would return userinfo.getUsername. Rest of the methods like isAccount non-expired, isAccount non-logged, isCredentials non-expired, isEnabled are hard-coded to return true. Finally, we will move to getAuthorities method, which is a crucial method for authorization. GetAuthorities method returns the authorities granted to the user. In Spring Security, a granted authority is an individual privilege or permission. These permissions are expressed as strings and lets Spring decide if the user has granted access to something. Roles are a coarse-grained granted authority with a prefix role underscore. For example, the condition has role admin would be same as has authority role underscore admin. Beyond the semantics, the difference between a granted authority and a role is minimal in Spring Security. In our user info table, we had defined the column roles to contain the comma separated roles for a user. That string needs to be converted to a collection of granted authorities. To do that, we will first do a null check on the roles column, and if it is null, we will return an empty new array list since the method cannot return null. We will use arrays.stream method, which is used to get the sequential stream from the string array which we get from splitting the roles using the comma delimiter. On the resulting stream, we will apply map function which creates a new symbol granted authority with a role underscore prefix to the string role and returns the resulting stream. On that stream, we will use the terminal operation collect, which will convert it to a list using collectors.toList method. This method will now return a list of granted authorities. From the user details service IMPL, we need to talk to the database to get the user info from the table. Let's auto-wire the user info repository. The method load_user by username takes in the string parameter username and returns an instance of user details. So we need a method in user info repository to find by username. Define a method find by username in user info repository using the string username as parameter and return user info JPA entity object. We just need to define the method and Spring will provide its implementation in the runtime. In the load user by username method of user details service IMPL, use the find by username method of user info repository to fetch the user info object. We can return an instance of user details by creating a new user details IMPL object which takes in the user info JPA entity as the argument. Let's also add a null check for usernames not present in the database and handle it by throwing a new username not found exception. In our security config class, we need to configure our DAO authentication provider. For that, we need an instance of our user details service implementation. We'll create a method that returns a new user details service IMPL and the method is annotated with bean annotation. Next, we need a password encoder for our authentication provider, which is also mandatory. We will use bcrypt password encoder, which is one of the preferred implementation provided by Spring Security because of its strong hashing function. Now we can configure our DA authentication provider. The authentication provider method will return an instance of DA authentication provider. We will create a new DA authentication provider inside the method and set user details service to our custom implementation and the password encoder as the value we get from the password encoder method, which is the bcrypt password encoder. Now in the configure method, we can add our DA authentication provider to the authentication manager builder using the authentication provider method of the builder. This will add the DA authentication provider in addition to the in-memory authentication. Let's also update the in-memory authentication passwords to use the bcrypt password encoder as well. Now our application is ready to use, but the user info table does not have any records. We can manually add some test data into the table using insert queries, but it could become cumbersome since we have to store the password in encoded form. Spring Framework provides a functional interface called Command Line Runner, which we can use to insert test entries in user info table programmatically. Command Line Runner interface is used to indicate that a bean should run when it is contained within a Spring application. If we define an implementation of the Command Line Runner interface, we will need to override the run method. This run method will be executed after the application context is loaded and right before the Spring application run method is completed. So let's create a class named dbInitializer and it should implement command line runner. Implement the run method of the command line runner interface in the dbInitializer class. We'll annotate this as a component so that Spring can detect this class. Using this class, we are going to insert a bunch of users right after the application context is created. I have auto-wired user info repository and password encoder interfaces. We had registered our password encoder as a bean in the security config class, and that class will be injected here. In the run method, you can see that we are deleting all entries in user info table using the user info repository's delete all method. Then we are creating a list of user info JPA entities and persisting them in the database using save all method. We need to create a corresponding constructor in user info class. We'll also create the default no argument constructor as well. I have added a couple of loggers at the start and end of the run method. Let's run the application. In the startup logs, we can see the dbInitializer logs right after the application started logs, and the test entries have successfully been inserted into the user info table. Open the application on the browser on localhost 8080 and try to log in as user1 and password pass1, which we added in the dbInitializer with the role user. We are able to log in and we can see that the edit and add new buttons are not visible since this user has a role user. Similarly, log in as user admin1, which we created with the role admin. We are able to log in successfully and the add new and edit buttons are visible as it should be for an admin user. We can also try to log in using the in-memory authentication user and it is also successful. So both the authentication providers are working simultaneously. We can also take a look at the user info table. We can see the inserted records from command line runner and the passwords are in the encoded form. That's it for this video. In the next video, we'll see how to implement single sign-on feature using OAuth 2 protocol and using Okta as the identity provider. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.